The latest discovery of debris has focused the search effort from an area spanning 7.6 million square kilometres to just 350 down in the southern Indian Ocean. The two objects spotted were just outside the southern search corridor. If it is debris, investigators then have to judge where the plane hit the sea. But as these real-time images show, currents and winds and waves here are erratic. By now, debris could have been carried 100 kilometres in various directions from the original location. The waters here are at least 2,000 metres deep and could be reached by submarines. But if the main fuselage is only partially submerged, even stronger currents underwater could have carried it much further.
Debris could move certainly 600 or 700 kilometres perhaps over a 2-week timescale, but it really depends upon whether the currents are travelling in the same direction or whether they've been caught in a vortex, in which case they may be quite close to the area of the original debris field.
But it's been eyes and ears much further away that changed the search effort. These latest satellite images are from a US civilian source, but it's thought the 4-day delay in their publication could be linked to the reluctance of intelligence agencies to reveal their capabilities. Questions have been raised about the involvement of the Pine Gap Listening Post, a top-secret Australian-US facility in the outback. But it was British firm Inmarsat, on a roundabout in central London, that redirected the international search effort to two corridors far north and south of where MH370 took off.
From our position, we simply drew a curve and we supplied that to the investigation and said, here are some thoughts from Inmarsat of London. That was on the Tuesday. And then we held them forth and left it to be considered.
But it has now emerged it took 4 days for this crucial information to be shared with other partners in the search.
From our perspective, we had passed on a thought and a possible route to look at. Suffice it to say that we were then waiting for it to be cross-checked and cross-related for information that we didn't have.
Is it also true that you let intelligence services here in the UK know that you'd provided that information to the Malaysians and it still hadn't been acted upon?
Obviously I can't discuss that particular area. I'd only say that we have good relationships with all of the countries in which we operate.
All the players in this operation are keeping their answers diplomatic, but Channel 4 News understands when it comes to information sharing, relationships between many have become increasingly strained. So if these faint images are indeed that of a downed plane, how did it end up here? One theory is that an electrical fire or sudden loss of cabin pressure incapacitated all the passengers and crew, leaving the plane on autopilot. This caused a private jet crash that killed golfer Payne Stewart in 1999. But MH370 made unplanned manoeuvres before disappearing, but no distress call, making that seem unlikely. Egypt Air Flight 990 was lost when its pilot deliberately crashed into the sea. Takeover of MH370 either by rogue pilot or hijacker is another leading theory. But lessons from Air France Flight 447, lost over the Atlantic with no distress call in 2008, showed equipment and pilot error can explain seemingly inexplicable disasters. It took 2 years to find and recover the wreckage of Flight 447. The distress beacon on the flight recorder of MH370 will only work for another 2 weeks or so. They're now searching against the clock.